Good evening, Nofos. How are we all doing?
I was.
Well, Lance.
Oh, mate, you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hi, Gaz. Hi, Simon. Thanks for jumping on early.
Get the chat up. That'd help, wouldn't it? Saying there's no one commenting. Evening all, evening all.
Hi, Andy.
How you been, buddy? Hang on, there we go. Yeah. Good week, mate? Busy week?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Busy. I did have something funny earlier happened, actually. So, as a reminder to everybody... Well. Paul's here as well. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Oi, oi.
Are you all right? You all right?
Just slipping in underneath there. I like it.
Well, that's how I roll.
Yeah, baby.
We done it. I was just casually upstairs trying on my combats, so I thought I'd jump in.
As you do.
Actually, I just had my pajamas on, so I thought I can't go on there with that. So the only thing to grab...
Well, the big blue and white stripy ones.
Just grab me. Look at that. Let me Fat Airsoft Association. Yeah, got my bacon on there.
Fair play. Evening, James.
I've done something with my ear, so I've got
deep wine.
Got me out on.
Fair play, mate. Yeah, lovely stuff.
I bought a new hat this week. I got the after last week's episode, we were talking about boonies and stuff. I got the UF Pro boonie, which is
nice.
It's beautiful. I love it.
So, yeah. So I was going to tell you a story. So,
November Foxtrot's live, by the way, if anyone's interested. Just flashed up on my laptop.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Well,
cheers, Andy.
So I was saying to the missus earlier, I was like, my
bugger fuckers. Sorry.
So my wife's obviously pregnant. For those that don't know, and I was thinking, oh crap, it's Mother's Day on Sunday. So I was like, right, here we go. Here's a trick to win some husband points here. So I was going to get her something, but I was like, we normally go to Tesco's together. So I was like, I'm definitely going to come with you tomorrow, but I'm going to get some stuff. So I've got to get some stuff for myself. And she was like, what do you need? So I said, just as a joke, I was like, I'll get some condoms and lube. And she didn't bat an eyelid. And I was like,
why would she?
Why? And I asked her, I said, do you not find that weird that that's what I'm buying? And she went, no, I'm assuming it's just an Airsoft thing. I was like, great, absolutely fantastic. Like,
I'm surprised
what are you anticipating we're using them for?
Didn't turn around and say, we've got 2 crates and a bucket to get through first.
Yeah. Like Kevin and Perry Go Large, where he chucks all his clothes out, just fills his suitcase with condoms. Bosh. Well, I had a particularly funny story about half an hour ago now where I nearly karate kicked my son through the wall of the house. So he was sitting on the... not condoning this at all, by the way, but completely by accident. But he was playing, watching something on his iPad on the sofa, and there was like a karate sound in the background, like a hi-ya. So I've come tearing out the kitchen like a bat out of hell, and sort of attempted to jokingly flying kick across the living room towards him, not knowing that there was a blanket on the floor, which I tripped on, and literally my foot went towards his face and just went and skimmed him and just planted into the back of the chair. And I was just like, oh God, I'm so glad.
Don't tell your mum.
Don't tell your mum. Here's a tenner. Order yourself a curry. Don't tell your mum.
Well, I haven't got any fun stories, but we are teaching my 2-year-old at the same time as obviously having the baby. The 2-year-old's potty training. She sneaked behind the sofa, and the other half was talking to her, and she said, she's pointing something towards the fridge, because we've got like a family room, so obviously the sofa and the TVs and all that sort of stuff in there as well. So we're all sitting in there, and she pointed something in the fridge. All right, no worries, I'll go around and sort it out. So I stood out from the sofa, walked around the back, and trod straight in the steaming.
Oh no!
That she'd planted behind the sofa, and she wasn't telling us that she wanted something out of the fridge. She was telling us that she'd taken a shat on the floor.
A crucial question though, Paul: socks on or off?
Socks on, thank fuck.
So it looked like a Play-Doh machine. Yeah, well, it's like a Play-Doh machine, Mike. It just come up between the graps and the toes, like spaghetti.
I literally just felt it. Going on and thought, nah, mate. So I didn't go full on down and, splatting everywhere, but I just thought, that ain't right. I didn't pay much attention in science, but I know that sort of opposing force of something on the floor that's a bit squidgy when you're potty training. Not good. Not good.
Just fell to your back and just like, medic!
I'm just waiting for my 18-year-old to find that sock that I've hidden in his bedroom now.
I thought he was going to say waiting for my 18-year-old to finish potty training.
I need some
training, be trending that.
Socks gone.
Slip it in the pillowcase.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
Hi Wayne, thanks for joining. Hi Roy, James. Gaz says you need to tailor that boonie bit. Yeah, I know. I've literally just got it out of the packet, so I will have a little play around with it.
Give the man a chance.
Yeah. James C, hey, the chief is back. Well, love there for you, Paul.
Well, one.
One love. That's all you need, baby.
That I went to school with since I was 10. He didn't say it.
Yeah, but he knows what you like.
He puts up with me every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Call of Duty, so it's probably not as bad.
Andy's saying thanks for the Jungle Knot vid. So anyone that's interested, we've got a video that Lance has very kindly done one-handed of the Jungle Knots.
Professionally, that was. Took me hours.
Yeah.
I'll take the piss.
Oh, actually,
he also says...
I think you've had some good training in one-handed technique, clearly, because you managed that.
Right? Absolutely, yeah. Especially with the camera in the other.
Oh, dear. And he also takes a pack of condoms in his airsoft kit. I'm just ignoring you two. I'm just going to keep going. Gaz, condoms.
Which is about for me and him getting together. It's all just evolved straight into sex, isn't it? Really, sexually orientated conversation.
Yeah, the November Foxtrot. Well, this is how we're going to fund the podcast. Is November Foxtrot OnlyFans account?
Just Paul wiggling his shitty toes. Paul wiggling his shitty toes at the camera for the niche market.
People that pay money for that.
They would.
Hi, Tony. Tony's here. Dad says the king of blue ribbons is in the building.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it weren't a melted blue ribbon, was it? That gone down the side of the sofa.
No, it didn't taste it.
That's what he's telling himself.
I thought that at first, but when I gave it a lick, I thought, no, it's definitely not a blue ribbon.
Oh, you absolute animal.
Blimey.
I've never seen a blue ribbon with sweet corn in it.
It's one of them top vegan type ones, isn't it? Anyhow, come on, stop it now.
Roy says someone has to make Paul look good on COD as well. So there you go.
Yeah, that's why we get. That's why we get my Swedish mate to join as well.
Oh right, so
he's gone already. That's it.
I'm back.
He's
I don't know what's wrong with my internet. But this week we're doing a general Milsim Q&A. So we've had a number of questions come in from people before the episode throughout the week. So thanks for that, for jumping on the socials.
Very kind, guys.
Feel free to throw some questions in the chat and we'll get to those. But first off, blank firing guns, yay or nay?
What do we think? I guess in general or
generally outside schools?
Well, I'm going to take it at Milsim events.
On school pickup. Get in the car, bitches.
So
at events. Let's go with at events.
So I think, right, that there's a place for it. So when I first went to the GLAD event at Longmoor, and I wasn't expecting it because I didn't know that they were using. I just thought it was normal airsoft rules, you know. And then kind of when you're sort of charging down the street and the QRF turns up with that propane powered 50 cal.
It's the best.
Bang. And then you've got other people that are just sort of walking around with a little Russian, blank firing guns and all that sort of thing. I think it just adds to another level of it, you know. And you know, even though you know that you're all in a safe environment and you know that, that these ain't real bullets flying around your ear holes, but just to have those clacking off in the background every now and again, and then someone getting disgruntled because they're more prone to a misfire than any other gun invented in the history of man. They tend to sort of get 2 rounds off, and you've got some
sort of stoppage there. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Paul, it does add a massive immersion factor to an event, doesn't it? You've got them bangs going off.
Yeah, and obviously you get the op 4 guys or whatever, and they'll manage to snaff a blue 4 guy, and they'll have him on his knees inside one of the Jam's Mutt huts or whatever, doing the old sort of execution and all that sort of thing. And I think it's
whips
just,
out a Makarov and just pops in one. Yeah.
He's a laugh. I must admit, I do sit there sometimes thinking, you see it, it's all pistols really that they get there. But I'd love someone to just jump around with an AK, blank fire an AK and just just like a Somalian birthday party or whatever, like Martin says at APEC. But I'm a massive fan of it, mate. Absolute massive fan. But time and a place,
So would you say it's probably more for like the immersion aspect rather than actual gaming? Because so there is an aspect to this, which is some people use blank firing pistols and they're running around and they're pointing at people, and the idea is that because they're pointing at you and firing, you've got to take that hit.
I don't agree with that. I think if, like, for example, for the like Paul mentioned, the 50 cal. I mean, that's a film set. That's a film prop type weapon. You know what I mean? That's obviously where they sourced it from, a company. I don't know which one or who it is, but and obviously in the briefing, Big Man Mike, he always says, obviously with the 50 cal firing, there's no projectile to come out of it. It's purely for the immersion factor. But obviously, people are required to act accordingly. If you are taking fire from that, you have to take cover. You know what I mean?
Stand in front of it laughing.
Rightly so, and all, yeah, because obviously it's just not gonna have the effect that they want it to have at an event, and it's going to spoil it for the guys who are carrying out the QRF tasking. It's going to spoil it for guys on the ground and that. So, I mean, yeah, obviously nothing's going to hit you. Obviously, that's ridiculous, but it's a blank firing weapon. It's purely there for the immersion, for the look of it, for the effect of the event, and you just got to act accordingly to if you're being hit by it or it's in your direction. You take cover, go behind a building, this, that, and the other. That's what you do. So.
It worked, didn't it? I think
it did. Yeah,
I didn't see anyone really taking the piss of it at Longmoor.
No,
everyone did kind of run.
It's quite good as well because when you hear it fire out, you think, "Oh, someone's getting some."
Yeah, exactly. You're right over the other side, thinking. Ooh.
You do see this boom, 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 boom. You're like, "Oh."
Especially when we were Blue 4, and then it was definitely being fired at us.
yeah.
Because you guys nabbed it off us at one point, I think, and then
we did. I think the first one that we went to. If I remember rightly, we took it just outside the Alamo. So on the road that goes down to, is it Jam's Mutts or Jam's Huts or whatever it is, Jam's Mutts Close?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, so the road that goes kind of nearest to the Alamo, past the police station, and then you can sort of go right the way round to the railway bridge. We took it just there, so it was facing the Alamo as well. And I remember sort of some rounds going off on that, but it gets you it sort of gets you going a little bit. It gets the adrenaline pumping a little bit more as well. You certainly know it's there, and as long as people play accordingly with it, I think it does. It adds, like exactly as Gaz says, it adds to the realism.
That's it, definitely, mate. Yeah.
To me, it's just like your old school AEG to your TM blowback type. The rattle that you get off of that, off of like my 416 and your bolts, etc. And then you get your people with your gas blowbacks. It's just almost a natural progression of that. It's a bit louder, makes your ears prick up, and puts
the willies in you.
Well, there is that.
There's nothing better on an event.
It's a bonus at any event.
It's the reason we do it.
Right, we had a question in from Dano_46 on Instagram. I'd be interested to hear what kind of kit you guys use for an Op4 loadout. So I've only done a PMC type role as an Op4 kind of thing. I did do a cartel one once, but we just went in DPM, so I can't really justify this. I think this might be more of a Paul question because obviously,
I've never done it. I'm the same as Mike. I've only ever done a PMC role, sort of thing. So
I think we were defined to have solid colours. So I think they steered us, the Legion one steered us to be as close to sort of a civilian populace as you can, which was right, Mark. So as close to a civilian population as you can. So if you get guys walking around in jeans, sort of like lumberjack type shirts. It depends on what civ pop you're playing. So I think they were sort of borderline. Is it like Belarus or something like that? The GLAD events. Right. So any Oh, Christ, I'm not going to put them down a bit here, but like the Jumble Sally looking type thick jumpers and that's that sort of stuff. That's what they're
tracky
after.
bottoms and stuff.
Yeah, they want you to dress like sort of villagers that haven't got a pot to piss in because that's basically what you're playing.
Yeah, it's fair comment.
The first one that we went to, we went with tan, I think it was. So we had like tan cargo trousers, tan top. But then in the end, to be fair, I think I rocked up in jeans and like a lumberjack shirt, kept that on, and just trotted around with that for a bit. So that was that one for the Op 4. The other one that we did was, which was the second one that I was supposed to have gone to was the Cartel. So for that one, I jumped on eBay and bought a load of sort of Escobar T-shirts, anything like that. Any T-shirt with Postman or anyone would have thought I was a nutter. Big piles of cocaine printed on the front of it or whatever, and money. So anything like that. But unfortunately, I got 2/3 of the way down the A2, and the turbo and the intercooler and everything else went on the car, and I put a smoke screen up across the motorway, so I didn't make it to that event. But I've got all that up in the loft still, all that gear. And then the other one was the Taliban. So that was the black man dress.
That's it, yeah. And they're always the wicked. The effort that the guys put in for the Taliban side at APOC when we do the NATO Taliban events. I mean, it is wicked. Like they've got the full dish dash, the head covers, the chest, the old-fashioned style chest rigs with like wooden toggles and that. I mean, it is.
It's the hats. The hats make a big difference for me.
They do, definitely. And to an event as well. I mean, because a lot of the time, if you're in covering like woodland, like you see behind me there, if you've got someone kneeling down, and you're trying to PID someone, and you're going on head cover, if you've got both sides, they're out to wear boonies and this, that, and the other, and that's why I get why a lot of events are strict on no baseball caps for you, but you can wear a tack helmet, you can wear a boonie hat, but you can't wear this and you can't wear that. And it's purely for that reason, for IDing people, because it can be difficult sometimes. But I mean, and again, going back to what Paul was just saying then, I mean, it's great how, like Paul there, he's taken the time, he's jumped online, he's looked up different outfits and that, he's bought, actually buying bits for an event. So it shows how genuine and keen people are to take part in Milsim. Because, I mean, like for the Vietnam one, I bought a full US Marines 7th Cav, whoever it is, air cavalry loadout. Do you know what I mean? I mean, not genuine stuff by any shape or form, but it was
Tony Bassett approved though.
It was TBA, so yeah, I'm happy with that. The OD green shirt, trousers, I've got the patches in the correct places. Unlike Dan once to got them all wrong, was told off by Tony, but I got all mine right because I did the research.
For those that don't know, Tony used to do proper like reenactment of Vietnam.
Yeah, he's done a lot of them shows and stuff like that. Right. So he was our go-to guy.
So this is exactly it. So you've got, your skirmish gear. So if you've got boots, if you've got iPro, if you've got, a gun, if you've got
a jacket with pockets in, essentially, isn't it?
Exactly that. So you don't have to be dictated to by massive amounts of money. So we've all been there. I've spunked money on, on kit. Loads of sort of things no greater than £50. Just a lot of these things that are no greater than £50. But then, you don't have to. And I think that's the best thing about it. It's all you need is your basics and the right mindset. And that's it. Because you don't go on the Blue 4. You just, and if you do want to do Blue 4, just jump on eBay and just get some ex-military gear, that's cheap as chips. If you fall over and put a hole in the knee, it doesn't matter. But if you haven't got that and, you've got a rucksack, anything, it could be an old school bag. It's all you need. A couple of those.
Like you said, then, Paul, ex-military kit, mate. It is cheap as chips, and no one can say that you don't look the part because, I do actually, because it's ex-military kit.
Exactly that.
If you can get any more genuine than what I've got here, so
as long as you're
not wearing like World War One in NATO.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time period cut-off point. Do you know what I mean? We can't be running around like we just come back from the Boer War or anything, but. There's probably events for that.
That Longmore event, you don't need it. You go up for, you can stick jeans. As long as you might regret if it's pissing up the rain, jeans and a t-shirt. Cargo trousers and a whatever. T-shirt or shirt, anything you like, because you are playing essentially a third world type country. Who
sort of usually war-torn and sort of poverty-stricken, isn't it?
Exactly that. So, anything, just you've done a charity shop, get a couple of things as long as it's, for a couple of quid. And it's just getting your base kit right. That means if you get your head down, you get a good couple of hours kip. When you get your break, you can have something to eat. You know, as long as you've got your gun that you know isn't going to really let you down for the, you know, you're really confident to the majority of the point, it's not going to let you down. But even if you do, chances are you've got 200 people there that one of them is going to know how to fix it. So,
exactly.
you know, it is. And the biggest thing you need is the right mindset. You know, if you're going to turn up there thinking, oh, you know, I haven't got everything, you know, I haven't got the latest kit, I've not got the night vision, you're not going to enjoy it. If you turn up there thinking, you know what, fuck it, I haven't got everything, but I'm going to make the most out of this as I can.
That's it, yeah. Especially if you're just starting out, you can't expect to go to your first event having everything on you because it's just part of the journey for you. It's a progression all the way through for years. Do you know what I mean? So
you know, and then no one expects anyone to bankrupt himself trying to get there for that first event, because if you do, it could be like anything with airsoft. You know, you can go and spend $3,000 before your first skirmish. Get to your first skirmish, get shot in the face and hate it. You're stuck.
Exactly.
So go to a Milsim, take the cheap kit. You know, anything you've got, you can ruffle up for a moment that you don't mind getting dirty, and then go on an op for.
Definitely, 100%.
But what I will say is, if you do a Taliban one and you do wear one of those pork pie hats, don't spend the weekend on.
They're called the Packle hat. Jason's
there we go.
Jason, good man. Packle hat.
So I wore one for the weekend and wondered why I had a splitting headache, and then I realised that I hadn't adjusted the width of the head circumference to fit me. And I didn't realise to do that, you just unrolled it a little bit. And it wasn't until we got to it's Saturday night, and I was like, oh, fucking this hair, mate, my hat is so tight. Whenever I pull it down, it was going like where things like if you wear a beanie hat or whatever, sometimes they rub on your forehead, don't they? You get a rash. It was like that, but really imprinted. And then someone said to me, well, if you just take the hat off and unroll it a little bit, then it's less tight. Oh, shit. All right, unroll it a little bit, put it on. Perfect.
Thanks, mate. Where were you fucking 24 hours ago?
Where were you Friday night when I'm staying? This hat's a bit tight. You sat in the other one that's going there. Let's watch this wanker. I bet he wears it till Saturday night.
See how long? See how he bets on to see when he breaks. When's he going to break?
Throw me out on the floor. Throw that black outfit on the floor and say, "I'm going blue for."
Yes, I'm going to go sit in the car.
I'm defecting.
Fair play.
Become a national soldier interpreter over there.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining.
Maybe Sean out.
Mr.
Gaz
Glass
says you always look at other people's kit and get ideas for what you want in the future. I completely agree with that. Both opt for NATO, whatever role.
For sure, definitely, mate.
Yeah,
just jumping back because this made me laugh.
Go on.
Sorry, Wayne said anything with Care Bears on it looks great.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, can't argue with that, can you?
No.
Let's say you got.
That's why Paul had to change out of his jammies before he came on.
I did, yeah. Care Bears, and it's either that or my Disney Frozen ones.
Disney Frozen with the cape.
Let it go, Paul.
Well, I try. Can't hold it back anymore. But yeah, as I say, you go back to the Op4 side of things, and you get guys that, because they're not investing stuff in things like kit, they then get the opportunity to invest thoughts and ideas in other things. So, don't go out and buy 200 quid worth of, claw gear stuff when you've got stuff at home. But what they'll do is they'll spend 20 quid figuring out how they can conceal a gun in a briefcase. Or, they'll pick up a cheap violin case or something like that and pretend that they're the local musician. But really what they're doing is they're transporting pyro all the way around the base. So use that.
It's wicked. The effort they put in is really good. I mean, it's a bob-on amount of effort the Op4 guys put in, especially at the Legion events. And I mean, they're really cracking sight to go up against. They really are.
But the easy bit to get lost in it all is on the Blue 4 side. So if I rocked up at my first event, at probably one of the Blue 4 events at Legion, and was standing around with guys going out, at 6 o'clock at night, I'd probably be more likely to sit there thinking, "Oh, I want those nods. Oh, I want that thermal. Oh, I want those cryo trousers. I want that. I want this." But, because you can't help but be in awe of some of this kit. Because it's almost like every kid's fantasy, isn't it, to run around with some of the gear that we get to run around with. Whereas on the Blue 4 side, on the Op4 side, sorry, you just, there isn't any of that. You can't wear helmet equipment, so you can't wear nods as such. You can carry a monocular, you can carry a thermal. But the idea is that you're a villager, so the only ones that you might have is if you picked up something off a dead NATO guy in the story, so to speak. So you get less penis envy, if you will, by being on Op4. But then you can let your imagination go elsewhere and have fun. You know.
Yeah, no, it's a good shout, mate. Fair play.
James says Trilby hat was nice instead of a helmet all weekend. So,
I guess, yeah. There's all the guys rocking them at Octo 8, weren't they, for the villages and all that sort of thing.
Simon says watching the Misfits 20 strong all in rice hats in black looked epic.
Yeah, that was a Vietnam event. That was wicked. That was.
James C also jumps in with a pack hole. Thanks for that. I knew it was. I had it the name in the back of my head. James also says Brigands had the best loadout, Hawaiian shirts all weekend. That's what I do tend to see for any DEA event. The cartel is always just brightly coloured.
No chance of missing them.
I'll tell you what I didn't expect to see when I did do that Legion event though. Is you're kind of there and you're sort of around people on an Op4 side that kind of also wearing the jeans, wearing the tracksuit bottoms. A lot of them dress up slavy. So they've got like the really sort of garish Russian civilian type tracksuits and all that sort of stuff on. And then when it gets to a stroke of whatever hour, about 8, 9 or 10 of them disappear and then come back dressed as a full-on Russian hit squad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just go black.
Where did they come from?
I'm just like, oh, well, hello.
You got like
didn't see you during the briefing.
Nick Lande stacking next to you at 6 foot, Christ knows how much. These guys are fucking.
Oh, the Man Mountain, yeah, he's usually at the front of all the protests as well.
And he's just kind of like poof, with all his Russian gear on. He's got his big fucking metal type helmet on with the little sort of slit in the front. Shit, a brick.
I'm pretty certain I've got a photo of my brother sort of squaring up to him at one of the events. We were sort of meant to be like keeping the population back, and my brother, he's just slightly taller than me, so he's probably 5'11", something like that. And just the guy above him, just like looking down on him, and he's just like,
he's literally one of his calves is like the size of me. It's just an absolute beefcake of a man. Brilliant.
But he's an absolute gentle giant, though. He's a lovely fella.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, definitely.
And that's the difference. I don't think I've ever been to any of the events. And I've not done loads of Milsims, you know what I mean? I'm still fairly fresh in the whole part of it, but I've never gone across and stumbled across anyone that I would say, what a wanker, I don't want nothing to do with them. They're a bit. I've not found it. It might be because that's the type of events. So Apocalypse is like it's like playing in my back garden. People.
It is, yeah, and that's what events. That's what all events should be like. Really, Paul. I mean, like the first Legion event I did with Mike and Dave and Dan and a couple of other bods, and we were put with them RCT 13, weren't we, in a little billet. We'd spoken briefly on WhatsApp or the Facebook chat page prior to the event, and then as soon as we got there, it's like we'd been Milsimming together for years. Do you know what I mean? Just everyone got on. Do you know what I mean? Helping each other out with kit. Obviously, I'd never done an event there before, so Mark, who was the sort of like the overall team leader for the RCT 13 and us lot as well, more than happy to help out, explain a few bits and bobs, the lay of the land and all that sort of thing. It was fantastic. It was really good. It really put a lot of because I was quite nervous about the event because it's a big thing for me to do it, and he sort of put a lot of nerves at ease, and it's a brilliant event. It was a really brilliant people there. Do you know what I mean? There was no.
We're in a good squad, though. I think that does make a difference.
It was a cracking team. We had a cracking team. Really good. We were lucky.
James C says the most controversial one I ever saw was a team of 4 guys coming as Jews with beards, black suits, and big hats on. Never seen anything so on PC in all my life. Yeah, I mean there might be a line. There might be a line somewhere to maybe consider. Just
I don't know what sort of event that would be required to be dressed up as a Orthodox Jew. I'm getting by the description there. I'm guessing he's talking about
going for something like that. I don't know.
I think this is that point in the question where we move on to the next one.
Yeah. Unless it was let's say we're reenacting the Snatch film or something from the beginning.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's all I was. That's the first thing that came to my mind was like
any response that we could come back with could be so politically incorrect. It shuts us down forever.
James C. Tips for long range comms to 0 during events. It depends on the event, doesn't it? Like it depends if they've got a 0 set up.
If there's a 0 set up, obviously, and there is a risk of you losing comms if you're further out in the field than what you would be to be able to directly talk, relay messages through other teams. I think there's bound to be a team between you and 0, so you could always relay a message if someone else picks you up. If you can't raise 0, get another call sign to relay a message for you, perhaps. That's what I'd sort of rely on.
Given a radio, I think, when we went to ours.
Yeah, you will do. Yeah, you get one of the Aris, the PC152s, I think, whatever they are. I've never had a problem getting back to 0 anywhere at Longmoor with that. But then again, that is like a £280 handset.
It's relatively flat, though, isn't it? as well.
It is, yeah. It's not
Unless you
undulating
go
land or
over the
anything.
Go
And
to the woods,
there isn't a great
down,
deal of. There is woodland there, but there isn't. It's not heavy, thick woodland. You know what I mean? There is a bit of a wood block there, but nothing to compromise your comms or anything. So I think you'd be all right there a lot more.
Go to Apocalypse or whatever, and you're down in the coppice, or
that's it. Yeah,
a bit more difficult there, isn't it? But
I think you've got a thick canopy there as well, haven't you? So
you can. So I know this, Lance. This was something that you and I sort of messed about with Dan a while ago, which was setting up Biofeng repeaters.
You can do it. I mean, I did do it, but we never got the chance to actually use it. With the repeater, it's two Bofang UV5R handsets set to Vox. I'm trying to remember how you do it now. And you have an interlinking audio cable. You
wire one into the cable, the out of one into the input of the other.
Input of the other, yeah.
Versa, and then you have two separate frequencies. So right. You would radio to one of them on one frequency. It then vox that to the next radio, which sends it out again.
Sends it on again, yeah.
Similarly, you can bounce it back.
There is a bit. If you search it on YouTube, because I did get the idea from a guy on YouTube who explains it a lot better than I probably can. And it's basically just search up Bofang repeater setup, and it'll display. He'll tell you how it all works, and obviously placing it on a high position, whether it goes up to the top of a tree somewhere on some sort of pulley that you can get it up there with the aerials facing up or something like that. But there is a method to it, so it'd be interesting if someone can do it and test it. That'd be great, because I made it, had it all ready to go in a nice penny box, but never got the chance to use it. So.
I don't know if them Harris ones, the Harris style, obviously. But I say, they're 250, 300 quid, aren't they?
Yeah. They're not. I think you probably get them a little bit cheaper second hand, but I mean, yeah, they're not a cheap bit kit. And then it's all the parts that go in, because it's actually a mil spec radio. You have to have all the connections, like the 8-pin connections. Do you know what I mean? Like
it's the holy grail, isn't it? Comms.
It's a good bit of kit.
I've been reading up on these. Apparently, they've actually got a lower power output than some of the Biofeng models. So I appreciate that good radio. I mean, anyone in the chat that's into radios and stuff, they're going to shout at me. It's not all about power; it's to do with the quality of the aerial and various bits and pieces as well. But there was a few people on one of the radio Facebook groups this week, sort of saying, should I buy sort of a Harris clone and stuff? And quite often, a lot of the responses I see. I mean, I'm not an expert, but a lot of the responses that other people were posting was that realistically, it's just an expensive Biofang.
Right,
I think it's right. I
mean, aesthetically, you can get them cases, can't you, that your Bofang can go inside to make it look like it. So you still get the Bofang screen and the button contacts, but it's essentially in the green block type esque thingy. So
I think the umbrella of comms is the holy grail. It's like getting that riff that fires 100 meters every time, like a laser. Every airsoft chases it, but I don't think you ever really, very rarely get there.
I'm still 25 meters off at the moment.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, you look at you flick back through any of a lot of the sort of most recent, some of the clusterfucks that have happened in the Middle East, comms. I mean, these guys are Navy SEALs. These guys are SAS. These
you
guys
say that, mate, because I listen to when I drive to work, I listen to a lot of audio books. A lot of them are military stories and this and the other. Big fan of them, obviously, for military stuff and bits and bobs. So I like the stories that go with it and the true stories of that. And there's got to be at least 2 or 3 times in every single bloody story or book or episode or whatever it is I'm watching, comms. And they've got fucking satellites in the sky dedicated to them, and they still can't talk to each other sometimes. So there's us tearing about 100 acres of woodland.
That's because it would ruin it if they could all talk to each other. If they could go, I'm stuck in a situation. Can you get me out of here? Yeah, that's fine. There's a helicopter on the way. No worries.
Yeah, I suppose there won't be any movies then, would there? But you know what I mean, though? So, I mean, you could have as much as you want, and you could have 2 governments on your side with all the money and all the land, but
doesn't stack up to shit, does it?
It doesn't stack up to nothing. When you're sort of boots on the ground, if you like, and your comms go down, and it's just like, it doesn't matter what you got. You could have a paper cup with a bit of strings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fuck you, Navy SEALs. I've got my £28 Biofang.
That's it. Bosh, have some of that.
But what we'll say is that I think there is a number of things that people have with regards to issues on theirs is that they're dependent in some of the areas that they play with their radio, and we're not going to get into radios to too much because that's an episode in itself 5 times over.
We've done it.
But exactly that, the aerial, they keep the stock aerial, and it don't. It's like anything; they don't necessarily read into it too much and understand about it. But no, exactly, exactly, Andy. Exactly that. Everyone's got mobile phones.
Everyone just needs to get on a WhatsApp video call. Just clap the selfie stick to your rig, just running around chatting.
You're crawling in the undergrowth, camoed right up, and all of a sudden you get a.
Or the old bottle top, your phone stuck to your face like that. You look, hang on. Oh dear.
I'm just going to follow that question from James up with his other question, which is, I'm curious, Lance, does a Mission Taylor's radio pouch increase the range?
Absolutely does. I don't even know why you bothered asking me that. You know the answer to that one. Absolutely does. 100%. It's something to do with the liner and the material.
I got in touch with the guy at Mission Taylor's before he sent it, and he's actually turned it into a Faraday cage. So Lance's pouch ain't going to stack up.
I said, yeah. As soon as that nuke drops, mate, and that apocalypse kicks in, my radio's at bob on. All right. So who are you fuckers trying to talk to each other because you can't? But then, having said that, I won't be able to talk to anyone apart from myself. So,
hello. Oh,
it's me. Hello.
Right, we had some questions. Rage, I know for the usual regulars, he's also a regular on the show, but he was unable to make it this week. But he did leave 3 questions. The first was, where did 9-volt Airsoft go to school, and why can't he read email, Instagram, and Facebook addresses? Clearly, I didn't go to school, a proper school. I went to Maidstone Boys Grammar, if anyone's interested.
There you go.
Just to drop that one in.
Should have said I didn't bother.
And I can't read them just because there's too many and I get confused. He also says the Punish one posted a picture of a DMR the other day. Would love some more information about it, where he got it upgraded, etc.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. The DMR. So that DMR that I've got there is a Mark 12. It was a Bolt Airsoft. It's the Mark 12 Mod 1, which I acquired from a friend of mine who no longer wanted it. So I had a full internal upgrade done to it, which actually I'm going to have to resort to my phone with all my bits and bobs on it. So a kind gentleman called Giuseppe, who lives just up the road from me, who's an amazing gun tech, who's very local. So dropped it off to him. And what he done for me was obviously a full new internal upgrade. It was a new gearbox shell. And because obviously the bolt's got the blowback system in it, that had to be modified to obviously keep the blowback and keep the recoil, the BRSS recoil system that a lot of bolts now come with. So he done that. New hop unit, hop rubbers, barrel, Titan gate MOSFET fitted, shims, gears. Basically all the original in that gun is literally the shell now. It's had a full internal upgrade. So and I took it out. Well, luckily enough, a new friend of mine, shall I say, Edward, who's usually in the chat there. It's his cousin, who's luckily fortunate enough to own some land, which isn't too far away from me. Gave me permission to use it for my a bit of exercise I'm allowed on your own or whatnot. So I was able to go out and actually test fire it over the weekend, and I was blown away. Because I mean, a lot of people, I'm not au fait with teching guys and the results you get from weapons and things you do to them, but I know from the fact that it takes a long time to break a rifle in. You need to cycle a few hundred rounds in it before it actually gets to its sort of peak performance, if you like. So I managed to put 150, 200 rounds through this, and it was pinging 75 meters targets consistently, which I was blown away with. So I'm more than happy with that. I took a 30 meter tape measure out of me, set 30 meters, 60 meters, and then 90 meters, sort of pushing my luck a bit. 3 targets, hit the first 2 absolutely fine, and then obviously took a couple more rounds to bring me onto the target for the 75 meters when I had to bring it in. I wasn't quite hitting the 90, so I brought it in a bit. Another 5 meters, and then I was pinging away at 75 quite comfortably. So yeah, I'm blown away by it. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit. So if anyone wants any details of the guy who done mine, just send me a private message after this, and I can sort of steer you in his direction, put you in touch if you do need any work doing. So I highly recommend him. He's absolutely faultless in what he does, and he takes pictures of all the work he done throughout the project, doing it all for me. Any things he come across, any problems that he come across, straight onto WhatsApp with me, letting me know what he's got to do, this, that, and the other. You happy for me to go ahead, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it was completely transparent, which was fantastic. So yeah, really happy with it, guys. Yeah, all good.
Cool. Nice. And his last question was, what's a good first event / Milsim to attend?
I'd say a local one, your local site.
Yeah.
If it's your first time, I'd definitely try and stick to a site that you know. Obviously, people you'd know, sort of thing, that you've sort of skirmished with or something like that. If they run a Milsim, that's probably your best. I mean, you don't have to necessarily, but if it's your very first time, probably sort of best to know the area that you're going to go to. and I'd choose a
think
summer event
as well.
Yeah, if a battle sim, a one dayer where you haven't got to have as much kit as what you'd need for a full like 48-hour op or whatever it's going to be. But I'd certainly say a local event to a site that you know, and like Mike just said, then a battle sim, just for a day event sort of thing, so you can get a taste of being out on the rather than coming back after each game and then going back out again, where the whistle goes, you get your briefing, you're out on the ground, and that's in for the whole day. That's what I sort of suggest that as well, mate. It's a good shout, that is, the battle sim.
Because I mean, the one thing that's obviously the major difference between skirmishes and Milsims or any sort of like Milsim style event is the lack of stopping. I know that there was an event that we went to fairly recently, which was people stopped for lunch. It was a bit like, come on, guys, let's keep going. You don't have to have lunchtime. Bring it with you.
Lunch and sandwiches. Come on, let's not really worry.
That was a bit weird, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. You can play through it, but What about you, Paul? What do you think?
I keep banging on at the Legion events, but for me to have gone on that one first was it was spot on. So you're in Op 4. It was a summer event, not too hot though. It was it was just nice. You're there Friday night, but you don't play Friday night, so you socialise on the Friday night, so you get to just chat to people that you're going to be playing with.
That's a good shout.
And that was nice. But then you're up the Cracker Sparrows on Saturday morning, straight down into. This is the first time anyway. You straight down into the village, Op 4. You're allocated a house, so you're not sleeping under the stars. It's not even if it's pissing hard with rain, you've got somewhere dry. You can take a camp bed. You can sleep on a mat on the floor, but you're dry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need all the bells and whistles to do it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think I might have had a different opinion of Milsim if I'd have done, say, Apocalypse first, where we were kind of there. I didn't have the kit, but I wouldn't have had the kit to have, probably gone for one of those first, because I didn't have a tent. When I did my first one there with Richie, which was the tally one, I shared a tent with him. But it was, I don't know. I think that sort of step into the Milsim world, that first one at Legion, I think really was the one that turned the worm for me, with regards to what I like to play and what I don't like to play now. And then when I've done that, I went on to Apocalypse, which is an area that, I'd never done a Milsim there, so that was the unknown. But I knew the site and I knew the people, so that's your comfort. Whereas, obviously the Longmore one, I knew I was staying in a house. I knew a couple of the guys that I was going with, but the rest of it we were learning beyond that. But that was it was quite comfy. But if not, potentially something like one of the Octo events where you're doing a two 1 day event.
Where you stop in the evening, don't you?
And you've got the social in the middle. I know that's not necessarily to everyone's preference. I know some of the Apocalypse events. Certain guys play up to a certain time, and then when it sort of the bell gets called at 10 o'clock or whatever it is on a Saturday night sometimes, and everyone goes in the middle for beers and banter. Some people decide to go home, which is then that's fine. But I think the Octo event will get you used to a back-to-back battle sim, so your body's going to suffer a bit from it, because you're usually used to playing a skirmish, which is 2 hours and 1 hour perhaps, whereas Octo is going to be 8 hours in a tent. Are we there?
He's back.
We can hear you. I think
8 hours in a tent. Cool. Sounds good to me.
1,000 meg fucking download speeds. Someone's probably watching Peppa Pig and killing me internet. So if you think you're used to doing 2 hours and an hour at a skirmish on average on Apocalypse, whereas this you're going to be doing 8 hours, potentially sleeping in a tent, getting up and doing another solid 8 hours. So your body's going to get used to that side of it. And that at the time when I did my first Legion event, I was at my heaviest, and I had never done it before. Milsim and you felt it,
Definitely,
so I think Octo, I'm a fan of that idea of stuff. I think it's a fantastic transition piece for people, because it is a difference. It is that mindset, of how you're mentally going to cope. Your body's got to cope with it as well, to get the most out of your 80 quid.
For sure.
So that'd be for me.
Sure,
yeah, like a lawnmower and a sort of an Octo style event. Or if you were doing something similar like Apocalypse, but where we're doing fixed fobs, what you don't want to do is the first one, go hard routine. You wouldn't want to turn up for your first ever Milsim at the trees in Stirling, because they can be 3-day events and that will absolutely kill you because it's just non-stop. You know what I mean? So, but if you go to Apocalypse, for example, and you've got a fob like we did last time, and you've got Punish a Pit, you had the other bit, or other ones where you've done it where you stay in the village, and again you guys are at Punish a Pit or at Stockade or whatever. You've just got somewhere to set up a bit of base camp, and I think that's the important bit. It's just that breaking them in.
So that nicely follows on. Actually, there's a very, very quick question here from Jason Sladen, which is: are you guys doing the next Octo 8 event? Yes, we are. Can't wait. Genuinely can't wait.
Cannot wait, mate, to get out there for that. Actually,
I've been waiting since last year.
Yeah, done the first one. It was at Tuddenham. That was cracking, and so we're looking forward to doing this one at the new site.
And this is the thing as well. This is so. We said about this Octo event, and this is the first time that I'd have done an event affiliated to you guys. Running alongside you guys. So that is great. I've never done an Octo event, so again that's great. And I've never played at the site.
The same as virgin territory for me and for me and my guys as well, mate. So it's going to be good. Be a nice little fresh area to get to. That'd be cool.
And I think a big map. Yeah, bring in a big map. Try and get laminated as well, so we can actually mark some stuff onto it. Which would be good.
It's a big map.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
big map's coming.
map.
Yeah.
Well,
he looks after me.
And that's it. So we know that there's the different slices of that pie that splits into 3. Never done an Octo event. Never played at Fulcrum. But I know you guys. So that it's one slice of that pie. But already I know is going to work. And to me, I've never done a battle sim before, so I'm doing a straight 8 hours on this one, and I'm absolutely amped for it. And the site, well, people, you hear positives and negatives about sites, but again, for me, it rolls back to mindset. Sites might not necessarily be the perfect places in the world. Sites might be in the making, but when I look at what the guys are doing at Octo to prep for that event, building things, throwing their time into it. At least all I can do is bring the right mindset that says, what, I'm going to max this out as best as I can.
Absolutely, that's the best way to play. And like we did, that we covered in that episode where we said about writing off companies or events or locations, and that it's like for all that's their first ever event. Yeah, it might not have gone the way they wanted it to go. And I think some people who tend to have a bit of a mouthpiece on them after events and give feedback and say how poor it was, or this, that, and the other. It's like, well, maybe you need to stop for a minute and think. It was their first event. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and try the next one. And you can only learn from your mistakes. You're not going to get it right every time. Do you know what I mean? No one does. It'd be boring if you did.
Feedback as well,
That's it. Yeah, rather than just slagging them off, just saying, look, guys, I think maybe you could have done this, or maybe try this next time. It was a great site, but you could have done that as a suggestion to them, not just completely berating them online and that. It's just another.
I think as well, the majority of people that do this for a living are not just in it to make a few quid. They do it
because they enjoy it, mate. Do you know what I mean? And the work they've got to put in to run them, it's a mad amount of work they have to put in. A lot of hours go into these events and stuff like that. So the day after to then see online, it was fucking this, it was fucking shite. I'm not going back there.
Especially when no one said anything on the day,
and then you got some poor bloke sitting at home thinking, well, no one told me that 12, 13 hours ago when they were at the site, and it's all coming out now. So I could have done something about it then.
And the thing is, as well, we've got this event. It's coming up. I must admit, I've not been to an event before where I've had to double side print 8 pages of information. So the mere fact that they've sat down and done that, they've got six podcasts now as well, breaking the backstory of it. So if you've never been,
it's a great idea. I've not seen that before with event organisers as well as actually running a podcast in relation to the event. They talk to the devil. There they are.
Yeah. Hi, Octo.
And exactly that. It's good if people can feedback during the game. Absolutely, because they're not going to know. And then by the time it's too late, you've sort of poisoned someone else's opinion towards a site that they haven't even been to yet. You know, and we've seen many examples of that across our community of someone saying something, and then all of a sudden a certain site starts getting loads of messages from people in the United States of America saying how crap their site is. They've not even been in the country. No. Like, what are you talking about?
100%.
This is a trouble.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, talk to the site directly. Do you know what I mean? Don't start berating people before you've actually spoken to the person or the company.
The thing is, though, as I say, just look at the lead up to what we've been seeing from this event. So COVID hit, so everything was planned for Octo. COVID hit us. Communications throughout have been absolutely bob on that one. And then you go, right, what we're doing. So we're doing it. They've got the sandbox. So, people have been able to watch, a bit of a make-believe story associated to it build up. You've then got the intel that's come with it. You've got the live chats. I've got nothing but, very high expectations that I know are going to be met when I go to this event. It's run by people that care. And that's the difference,
Absolutely.
But it's like anything. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. But the majority of people that bring something negative didn't bring their fucking A game to the event. So
absolutely, mate.
Make it what you will, but bring your A game along and get involved. Don't just sit there and slag it off and sit back at the fob eating your corned beef sandwich. Anyway,
I do like a corned beef sandwich. I must admit.
Bully beef.
Dano_46 on Instagram. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to mix stuff that we've had sent to us before and on the
Yeah, no, go on, mate, crack on.
The whole basic of a weekend Milsim, the signing on and the whole base camp, where do you leave all your out of game stuff, etc. So Lance and I had sort of had a bit of a chat with Dano separately on this one. So what the question is basically, how obviously do you sign up to a Milsim? So obviously you book on a lot of the websites for various events will have like a proper little booking page, and you can book onto those. Usually you pick sort of what team you want to go on. Legion, I think Octo as well, fairly sort of detailed in terms of if there's uniform loadouts, any sort of specific requirements for booking on for each site. And in terms of base camp, etc. So one of the things that kind of puts people off Milsim a little bit is
just a little one. I've had to hide this up here because my other bottle that I had downstairs was left empty in the back of my cupboard.
Oh no!
So yeah,
found your stash.
That's not me, because I wouldn't put an empty bottle back. I'd fill it up with some water to try and get the last little bit out the bottom, but fucking kids. I bet it was my 10-year-old.
In terms of where you leave your stuff, so if it's so a Legion event, for example.
I was going to say I thought it was your 2-year-old. That's why you shit behind the sofa. Oh, dear. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, mate.
No, that's fine. Finished.
Yeah, I think so. That's what she said.
Oh, blimey. Yeah, right. So a Legion event, as Paul alluded to earlier, you can be staying in like some of the buildings there. So, I mean, for those events, we've usually sort of, for those, driven up to where we're staying, offloaded all the kit, and then moved the cars and parked them away. And then, you've pretty much got a room with all your stuff in. Sort of more woodland-based events, you're pretty much out of a Bergen.
Yep.
So, you're obviously carrying everything with you. For the most part, we do just generally tend to leave that sort of in the camp. Safety-wise, I know this is obviously a bit of a concern that, look, some people bring fairly expensive kit with them and obviously don't want to just leave it sitting on the ground. I mean, if you're in a hammock, it's not even, or under a basher, it's not even like necessarily kind of squirred away. Like obviously a tent you could shut. So yeah,
I mean, like when I run a NATO side, there'll always be like a stag defense based defense unit back there. Always be a team, and it'll be like on a rotation that Mike does at Legion sort of thing, with the whole 3 hours on, 3 hours off, doing your different tasking. So one of those taskings will be base defense, and 9 times out of 10 you'll have the QRF there as well. So you'll always have 2 sections at the fob. So your kit, in essence, someone will be around it all the time. So, and again, it all comes back to honesty, guys, doesn't it? I mean, if you go to an event and you leave your kit out, and then when you come back, 2 or 3 items have been stolen from it, I mean, I would hit the fucking roof. I would be livid. Just the fact that you've gone in there and you're trusting that the guys you're with, or that you may not have met before, no, but you're all there for the same reason. And I've never heard of it before. I must admit, I've been to a lot of events, and I've never heard of any time of someone's kit being gone through or something's been stolen. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, something's been misplaced, or they've put it in one of the 100 pouches they've got. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about myself here. But they might be in it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just the 2 pouches on the comms pouch, and a new dangler. That's it. But do you know what I mean? It could be misplaced by something, but I've never ever heard in my life of someone who's actually had their gear stolen from at an event. So, I mean, for a security point of view, I don't think you've got too much to worry about.
You can take my kit, you can take my gun, take my night vision, take my thermal, but if any fucker touches my blue ribbons, I will find you and I will kill you.
That's it. I was waiting for you to say freedom at the end there, but it was the blue ribbons.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was going to go with as well.
Oh dear. It's a bit too north for me. I'm not chucking my sword around anywhere.
Oi. No more of that.
Right trouble, that does.
It does get you in a lot of bother, doesn't it?
I'm the same as you. I've never heard of it either. To say, even from a skirmish point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lost
a few bits. That's it, exactly. Yeah.
dropped it off the workbench into the 4 foot of leaves. Yeah. Swore blind that it's missing, but when I've come home and looked in the store, I've actually left it at home, or it's in the car. But never. I just. No.
And I think that goes a long way to show the sort of people that are in the sport. And there's a lot of honesty there. And like I said, I've never come across theft or anything like that. And I'll be pretty pissed if I did come across it. Even if it weren't my own kit, I'll be proper angry if it was someone within like our section sort of thing. No need for it. But all good that I've never heard of it. So only says good things.
Yep. Harry Badger says, "Is there a website somewhere to list recommended Milsims? 2021 is the year. Do my first."
Oh, good on you, mate. Yeah,
be a website. I think.
I'll tell you what. Actually, bit of news here because I think. Mr. Hoffman, I think Nation's coming back.
Yes,
I heard rumours through the other day, which would be good. And I believe that Airsoft Nation do a UK map. I don't know if that's just for sites, but I know he does a map, a site map sort of thing on Airsoft Nation.
Located?
Harry,
I don't know.
Located,
I don't know where Badger's local site is.
Drop in the comments.
I don't know
Harry,
where
let us know where you are. We want to find you.
Where are you, Harry? Where are you? I want to find you.
Just drop us a note because I'm looking at spreading my wings a little bit. And I know Mike is as well. The other missing Mike tonight. Exactly that, and yourself. So if you think we do Apocalypse, which is our home site in Kent, we do
sites and shops. Says Gaz.
Longmoor, which is what was it, Hampshire way.
Oh, so he's up Norwich, Tuddenham way.
So we got that, and we're going to look at potentially the Stirling event. I'm looking at hopefully trying to get on one of those at the Trees, which I think is in Wales. So definitely it's not millions of miles around. So I don't think it's beyond the realms of doing that. We could probably get a few interested, like-minded people on this podcast to all meet up for an event somewhere, and
that'd be great.
Sling some BBs.
We do the NoFo Invitational.
Yeah, exactly that.
Sounds good to me.
And it's depending on what different level of people are at kit wise, jump on and up for, and just tear it up for. You two can let your hair down and not be sort of dictated to by the routines for once. And
I'd love to.
I'd really enjoy. I really would like to do an Op4 event one day. As long as I've got some
people
to look after me.
AK today. Actually, I was thinking I'd love to do Op4 and just run around with that.
You seen the new Bolt AK has just come out?
Yeah, I was looking at the E&L ones, but it did lead me onto the Bolt one.
Oh, mate!
Is it in the Octo rules? Isn't it? Just remember, you're a PMC, so no gold AKs.
Yeah.
Yes, gold AKs.
There is a on Facebook, Harry. There is a Milsim UK news and events group It's a private group that you can join. Usually a lot of the sort of Milsim events and stuff get posted in there. So yeah, I mean that's another one if you're interested.
What's the other one that Trolley went to? Is it the NAE?
Oh, NAE is good.
event?
Yeah.
Oh, they're down at New Forest in Ringwood.
So that could be something really that we all link together. And no, just as a general shoot around.
No, I'd definitely be up for that. I'm going to get a because I always go to NAE. I'd like collecting their patches. So you get like an annual patch every time you go. But I'm going to be getting a NoFo flag to put on the flagpole that I normally run as well. So hopefully we can
the flagpole outside your house.
I actually do have a flagpole out the back. It was an old washing line, but I attached a flag to it.
Why am I not surprised?
So, yeah.
Well, that sounds good. I'm sure we could sort something out.
I mean, it might be that this year's a bit of a tits up write-off for everyone getting together. It's definitely something we should consider for the future.
Harry wants to travel anywhere for a weekend NoFo event. Right,
leave that with us, Harry. We'll come up with something. We'll bang heads together and see what we can do. After the last year, 18 month, a year or so that we've had now, I think we could all do with a jolly good blowout.
I'm just excited that people want to spend time with me.
Now, to the old Mike, spoken about
It's the sweets,
yeah. Question from Simon came in on. Question from Simon came in on Facebook. Okay, question for tonight. What has been your favourite Milsim? And if you could move it to another site, where would that be? Let's keep this one quick because I'm conscious of the time. And there's a few other questions I want to try and get in. So let's do quite quick fire. Lance.
Okay, Mike Fraser, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. My favourite one was DEA versus Cartel. We had two cartels, a police force, and a DEA.
That was your one, wasn't it?
Motherfucker.
Sorry. No, that was good. So that was good. And the reason that one's good, we were in. So we were like a 6 to 8 man DEA team. The cartels are about 15 people each, and I think the police force was probably about 10-ish. I like events.
Cool, keep that pose.
I like events with like lots of dynamics going on. So like you've got lots of different groups, lots of different factions, and it's that kind of interplay between everyone. I don't mind an event that's just like red versus blue. But for me, it's like a little bit more interesting when you've got like opportunities to team up with other factions to go and do a mission. Ideally, they wouldn't just immediately start shooting you afterwards because I find that kind of reduces the dynamic a little bit. I like to kind of let where one faction then decides that they're going to fall out with another faction. It's nice to have that over a period of time because otherwise I find that we're friends with those people. Now we're not friends with those people. No, wait, now we are friends with those people. It just gets confusing because you don't really know who you're shooting.
Yeah.
But that's for me. That's the best one. Where it is, I don't really mind. I just love every event to be at Longmoor personally. But,
yeah,
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. Just very quickly, I did a really good zombie Milsim as well at Longmoor with Battle Stations Activity Centres. They ran that, and we were in two 3-man fire teams for NATO for the whole of Longmoor. We had there was like a national defence force that comprised of about 10 people, and there was I think about 10 people on the zombie side as well. And they basically just dressed up like zombies for the weekend, and we had to like fight zombies at Longmoor. Honestly, it was amazing.
That does sound wicked. I'd love to do like an apocalyptic event.
So much fun. Sorry,
cool.
anyway. There, that's mine.
Go on, Paul. I'm still thinking now because I've had to choose a different one.
Go on, Paul.
I thought he was going to say the DA event because that's one that Lance couldn't make. No, I think for me, it's got to be my first event. It has to be. I've banged on about it 4, 5, 6 times already tonight. So, Legion events. Glad 2, I think it was. So we rocked up there, and it built up from the get go. So it was myself, Sean, Steve, Dennis, and Sam Jarrett. And Sean come and picked me up, so I was all packed ready. He picked me up from a house. Then we're in the car, so the road trip's on. Down to meet Jarrett at his house. Everyone else met up around there. Loaded the trailer up with a couple of bits and pieces. Jibbed straight down to Cobham. Great in, dirty KFC. And it was that build up. It was just that whole build up to it. And from there, you're outside the gate waiting to go in. You're all chatting banters and all that sort of stuff. And then you're in, and we stayed overnight. You're in, you're talking to people. Then it was just from the next day then. And you're in, you're setting your kit up. You're actually in an MOD base, which, is fantastic.
That's it, mate. It's a location in itself. It's just
100%. You're in the area that they train in. So their casings are all over the floor still. Even though you're told, strict instructions, don't take any of them off the site, but they're surrounding you, and the next thing it's just like, right, here we go, and we're going to do a riot at 11 o'clock. Okay, we'll do a riot, fantastic. But then we want to build it up gently throughout the day, and then all of a sudden there was this group of guys that were Chinese or something like that, and they decorated the front of their house with all the propaganda, and they just went, fuck it, no, I'm not waiting all day to kick this off. And they just went mental. And it was literally from that riot all the way through non-stop. And you were just fucking banging on at the Blue Four. Blue Four were coming out and smashing you up. You were giving it back. There was a massive firefight in the woods that literally was like Lone Survivor. You had about 6 guys on the Blue Four, absolutely stayed. So your FOB, your main base, was at the main the
main fob.
The main fob, yeah,
at the top of the hill.
So
the
they
big,
were all
big
in
one.
there. The 6 guys were down the bottom of the hill in the woods, right down the bottom of the Woodlands Hill, and we were in between the main base and these guys down the bottom, and they were sending fire up the hill. We had the elevated position. We were firing tag rounds. We were sniping. It literally was like out of Lone Survivor. And then we just, at the end of it, there was just like fucking 6 of them dead on the floor. But it was intense. You know what I mean? Then next thing you know, we take the Alamo. Great. And then there's just like 200 fucking Mark 5s going over the wall with a load of Inoue blooming smokes. And then we're in there, and then you've missed your sleep spot. Right. Well, your sleep spot's 1 till 3 in the morning. Well, sorry, you can't be relieved. You're going to have to stay up. Shit. All right. Then you're on half hour's kip, and there's a lesson learned in not carrying food and drink with you. Because guess what? You're hungry and you're thirsty. And it was just that whole thing, and you get back.
And it's like you said, mate. It takes events like that for you to realise, and for you to sort your kit out in a way that next time, I must take a day sack with me. I must take this.
We were hiding
because you never know.
Hiding guns in the loft, in the rooms. We had to go and hide guns in the woods. And then when you get home, you sit down and thought, "Fucking what a weekend!" I've made friends. The brotherhood that you've got between people you play with on a skirmish, and then you go and do a Milsim, that there is just as close to probably the whole Band of Brothers bit that I'll ever get, because I'm non-serving. But that camaraderie, that bit where you're looking out for each other, is just there immediately.
For sure, mate.
And it was just fucking an absolute spanking weekend. So I would do that. I wouldn't change where. I would just leave it at that same place, because to me, that to me is a bit of a mecca for me. That place now, it'll always have a place in here. And if I could just do 3 or 4 Milsims there a year, I'd be golden. That'd be me happy.
I'd be happy boy as well, mate. I mean, for me, I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's going to be a complaint. I'd say the Falklands event we done at APOC.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
I must say, for how hard it was, and it was a hard event, and there was no fob, there was no harbour area. You started at the bottom of the hill, and by the end of the weekend, you had to be at the other side of the map, taking the last objective, if you like. And that for me was probably one of the best events I've done. That I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed that event because it was hard. It was a really hard event, and everyone put 110%. There was no slacking because you couldn't, because of the numbers you had. You couldn't afford for someone to say, "Oh, do you know what, lads? Don't fancy it." You had no choice. Otherwise, you'd end up losing so much ground that's taken you hours to gain. You'd be starting again from scratch again in the morning, and it's just
that's one of the bits I'm quite looking forward to now. So the Longmore side of stuff, on an Op4 perspective, and probably Blue 4 to a degree, you could take everything. You can take the kitchen sink. You can take, you can take a 4-ring gas burner. You take what you like, and that's fantastic. You know what I mean? Because you've got a little bit of luxury, a bit of comfort. But when you're out there, you're in this base and all that sort of stuff. But then, the flip side to that is it'll be nice to do one where you've got to think smart. You carry what
you're fighting off your back, basically. You're living off your back, basically, for that.
Exactly
for that event.
and going with one of those, I think, to experience that, and then that will get you again the mindset around how you pack your kit. You know, how quick you can put up your basher and your hammock, how quick you can take it down. You know, how quick you can throw it in your bag, but still find stuff when you need it. That's the next bit, you know.
For sure. And I mean, that one bit that sticks out for me at that event, if I could relive that moment, if you like, would be when we held the comms hut and there was no cover. There was nothing. All there was a yellow, largest sort of utility hut thing in the middle of the wood.
And there is nothing there, is there?
With very little, apart from your belt buckle on the floor. That was the only thing that you had as cover. And I think we had to, I'm not sure, I can't remember rightly. Simon might be able to tell me. I can't remember if it was 2 hours or 3 hours you had to hold each location for. I think it was 2. I might be wrong. But for 2 hours, we held that, and it was fantastic. And we were literally crawling from left to right. We managed to get one in that 2 hours. We managed to get one resupply to bomb up our mags again, and that was it. Oh, 3 hours. Sorry, 3 hours. So 3 hours we held that.
The thing is,
for me, that was probably one of the best moments within an event.
If the whole event went to shit and you just took those 3 hours out of it, that's it.
Oh, mate, yeah, that made it for me.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm happy with that.
And from sort of running the team to looking around and sort of everyone's checking all their arcs. I mean, you haven't got to tell anyone what they're doing. They're all doing what they're doing. 360 degrees we're getting it from, and everyone's covering 360 degrees. You know, if it was Gary Mount, where we sniper section over there, I've got Dan and Stuart looking down the hill to our 6 o'clock. There's me, Dom, and Mark Kettles up the hill, just fanning out. Mike's there with the LMG, and it was just brilliant.
I was off out on my own in a bush.
It was brilliant, but it worked. Do you know what I mean? It was quality. It was quality.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Get sent out on outpost duty for some reason. Not sure why.
You're so good at it.
Right, go over there.
Like that lad in Fury. Go up the hill.
Yeah.
Go on. Off you go. Can I take my rations and a bottle of water? Yeah, just go. Go
see,
on.
It's like Simon's just said there in the chat, see, and that's where DPM, Woodland DPM, comes into its own at an event like that. Do you know what I mean? You're invisible pretty much when you're when you're under a dense canopy and that, and there's a lot of darkness and there's evergreens and there's a mixture of foliage and stuff. DPM Woodland
they're not thick trees either, are they?
They're not. No,
they're very sort of thin, skinny sort of trees, but the cover
birch
is just
or coppice type. Yeah, but it's really good. It's I mean, and it worked for us. I mean, it had to really because we didn't have a great deal of choice. We had nothing. We sort of got there and it was like, and the cover is where exactly?
The Bergens at one point.
So it was initially, we was using the Bergens when with the first contact. When we sort of from the beachhead going up to the first objective, it was right. We tried it with the Bergens, ditch your Bergens, and it was just literally belt kit, your fighting order until we took the objective, and then it was like half the team went down, recovered their Bergens, brought them up to the first objective. Then the other half went and got theirs, and then we held that for 3 hours, and it's push out to the next objective, another 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours. I think there was six key points on the whole AO throughout the whole weekend that we had to hold. And then obviously we done them all. It was the last objective, and that's when we got sort of pipped at the post. But you know, we got 11, keep hold of one, haven't we? So
yeah. Right, we should probably call it a night. Actually, we've been running
time
for an
one
hour.
More?
Well, I was just going to talk about the competition quickly. So if anyone wants to throw a last-minute chat into the chat, a question into the chat, and then I'll pick from that. But we will just talk about the competition. So this is currently where we're sitting at with our Milsim in a bag giveaway. So this is all included in our Milsim in a bag for our little care package. We'll be sharing this on Instagram over the next week as well. Thanks everyone basically just thanks everyone, because I mean we've had people sharing this on our posts, we've had people contributing stuff to the giveaway. If people haven't given us an actual item, they've thrown money at us. It's just like genuinely blown away by how much people are involved with this.
It's been really humbling, guys, to see the people that have got in touch and donated their time and in some cases money and items of kit and things like that. So we're eternally grateful for everyone who's got behind this. You know, can't thank you a lot enough. So you're a cracking lot of lads. So thank you very much. And
we have had quite a few submissions and things come in already, nominations. But that's not to say that we've picked one yet. So we're going to be running this until June. So just keep sharing it. That'd be great.
Yep, absolutely. Just to go back to that picture, sorry, Mike, as well. That is a picture of the kit. There is a couple of items in that picture that won't be in the kit physically themselves, but something like, for example, the roll mat it's not that roll mat, but we just wanted to show in the image that this is what's included. So it might not necessarily be that roll mat, but it will be a roll mat, just so you get the idea of the scale, if you like. So it's just to point that out. But
and it's a well kept floor as well.
It's a lovely kept floor, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Well done, me. Quite jealous of that kit, actually.
Has that been cleaned when you did your judo kick? Like your ass dragging across that floor.
Honestly, it was like slow-mo. I was like, no. I just see my son's looked up from his iPad and gone, just see his socked foot coming at him. He was all right.
Right, we haven't had any more questions coming in, so I'm just going to pick a random one. Sorry. Everyone was commenting on your leg, Paul. So Andy said his chief not wearing bottoms. Gaz says teasing us with a flash of leg, and Andy says
he always does it.
Go onto his OnlyFans page for more.
Oh yeah, sack back and crack.
There's always a bit of inner thigh flash from the chief.
I do wear trousers where I have to, but more often than not, I just let them go.
Just boys are out of the barracks for the day.
They've got a weekend pass.
Threw one into the chat. Really important question, Lance. What products do you use on that awesome beard?
Oh, a goat blood. No, I've got an oil. If he's being genuine, it's called Grizzly Beard.
It's called
Grizzly Beard oil. A 3-in-1. Bit of 3-in-1. A little bit of 2-stroke mixed in with it for good measure. That's right. Well, yeah, Grizzly Beard, mate. Grizzly Beard.
Last one of the evening. Is Paul still wanting his ceiling pebble dashing?
Oh, you forgot about that.
To be fair, I've been sat here waiting. The wife might get a little bit emotional now because that part is above the baby's crib. I'm guessing.
I'll tell you what you could have done, Paul. You should have gone straight upstairs and wiped your foot on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this covered.
So I love ceiling sorted 100%. Looks pucker. You can have a look.
I'll say that the final thing that I will chuck into this whole thing around Milsims, right, is that as nice as it is doing the bit when you're out in the field and you're running around and you're slinging BBs, you're on intel, you're gathering whatever you need to gather, the absolute gem of all of it from me is that little bit of downtime when you learn a little bit about someone that you didn't know. And it amazes me through the conversations that I have that the similarities that people have got in life away from airsoft, but just in life in general, is quite, is quite big. From, things that are very close, personal and emotional, to just generally things that you might have done in the past and things like that. So as equal as it is to go there with that mindset of, I'm going to smash this event, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Just, for me, make the time just to grab that 5 minutes and have a random conversation with somebody, because it's amazing what you learn over the, that course of a weekend by talking to 2, 3, 4 different people about how, similar everyone is.
And that's like we said in the previous episode, Mr. Fraser definitely mentioned it about not just staying back, getting into the cliques and all that sort of thing. Just have a chat with someone. Just approach someone and get involved. Like you said, if it's a cold night sort of thing, you're on stag somewhere and you've been put in a position with someone that you don't really know. Crack a board, sweet out, mate. Cheer you up a bit, have a sweet. You know what I mean? It's amazing what you can do. Have a chat and a conversation to get to know sort of like-minded people. It's wicked. Don't try not to keep yourself to yourself. I know it can be a bit daunting and intimidating, but. No,
it does. Sometimes it does take.
If you've had the balls to go to an event and take part, then this is the easy bit now.
It does take that leap of faith sometimes to take that next step beyond the initial question of, all right, mate, and then they go, all right, and then you walk your separate ways. All right, mate, yeah, I'm all right. You're all right, yeah, all right. Well, what you got up to there? And then that's that's it. And that's how I've kind of sort of grown my knowledge of people that go along and built that friendship and those bridges along the way. So, don't use it just as a BB slinging session. Use it as a a bit of time just to get to know people, and then before you know it, you're no longer that this is my first raw event. You're then in that. Well, actually, if I go to the next one there, I know 10 people. you know, or
That's
whatever.
it, mate.
And then that will then grow.
I bumped into people on Legion events that I met 2-3 years ago, and they went, "Oh, hi, Mike," and I was like, "Oh my god, it's you!" We actually had a little cuddle. You know, it's lovely.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, because you start with like your first event, it's like you're a spider with no web, and then you do that one event, you meet a couple of people, and it starts to bridge out. Then you do another. They tell you, "Oh, come to this event." You pop over there, and it gets bigger and bigger, and suddenly you've got this massive network on your Milsim web, if you like, of pals, contacts, event organisers that you've got on well with. It's been a really good event, blah blah blah, and characters that are stuck in your mind from previous events. You stay in touch with all the time. And it's like then that's a micro community within a bigger community, isn't it? At the end of the day,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a few guys that have been wiped with COVID and all that sort of stuff. You know, from the Legion events. I've met them a couple of times. Literally, jump on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? They're in the Op4 chat or the NATO chat or whatever. You know, they've been a bit. Just drop them a note. How you doing? Hope you're all right. Hope you're on the mend. Yeah, and it
takes no time at all to ask how someone is, does it? Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly that. So you know, and that's that for me. I know that's a bit of a deep thing to sort of finish up on, but
well, nice cheers to you, Paul.
I haven't even had a drink yet. I'm on the coffee. I'm working tonight.
Well, that's the trouble. I've had a drink now, so I'm going to sit here and start crying.
But I mean, there's one important thing, which is if you meet Lance, make sure you ask him for an autograph or a photo. That's just make sure you do that.
Yeah, not a dick pic because you'll regret it. He'll send you one every night for a year.
Yeah, it'll be on a little passport size one. There you go.
Right, that's the end of tonight. If you want to get in touch, email us at nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram is November_Foxtrot_nofo. Facebook is November Foxtrot Nofo, and YouTube is November Foxtrot. I got through it without getting that wrong. Shut up.
Yeah, I would do a drum roll on the table with the camera turn off.
No one was listening. Can you do it again?
Yeah,
no, I can't do it again. It's once.
We do it backwards.
Right. Thanks everyone for commenting and getting involved tonight. Next week we are talking team roles and tactics part 2.
Cream rolls.
Join us.
Love a cream roll.
Yeah.
And more tactics.
Sticky finger.
In the meantime, I'm going to take these 2 away from you. So we'll see you all soon. Stay
nice.
safe.
Guys.